It's a beautiful thing.
We in 6 countries. That's
Yes.
what I mean. So that's the thing that stands out to me.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. We love y'all.
Yes. Thank y'all for listening.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Coach Deb, representing one half of the Healing Corner podcast. If you're interested in booking a consultation as well as service or a reading, go ahead and check me out at debshealingcornerstone.com.
I'm Coach Yams, owner of Healing is Work Coaching, and I help millennial professional women to live on purpose unapologetically and to help them to stop doing shit out of obligation. If you need help with that, reach out to me, Coach Yams, YAMZ.com.
Welcome, everyone, to Season 5, Episode 5. We're going to be talking about wellness wonders, how travel heals the soul. I have my amazing co-host, Coach Yams, here with me on today. So we'll be bouncing back ideas. We actually do have a couple of clips of our own personal travels, as well as statistics and a little bit of fun facts that you guys might be interested in knowing about. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Coach Yams, did you want to start off with some of the facts that you found?
I sure can. So, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, in 2019, before the COVID-19, international tourist arrivals reached 1.5 billion worldwide. That's a lot of people traveling internationally, y'all. And then it also said that in 2019, France was the most visited country with approximately 89.4 million international tourists that visited there. Spain, the United States, China, and Italy were other countries that were visited at a high rate in 2019. So yeah, there's a lot of international travel going on, and I don't feel the need to like run down all of the statistics at one time, but I would say maybe here, I'm going to ask you, have you ever been to one of these most visited countries? Obviously, we live in the United States, but France and Italy and Spain, China, have you ever been to any of those places, Coach Deb?
I've never internationally traveled. I've always, everywhere that I've gone to has been the United States.
Okay. Hey, and that's okay too. Do you desire to travel internationally?
Most definitely, most definitely. I got a little bucket list, and I'm hoping to be able to cross off a few of actually the ones that are popular cities.
Okay.
So for sure.
Okay.
All right. And then what I seen, well, some of the facts that I thought was interesting when it comes to traveling in 2019, the global international travelism was basically $1.7 trillion, which is interesting because you think about the currency. That means that, you know, traveling is actually keeping the currency flowing in the background. A lot of times people don't know that. I didn't know that actually. So I think that's pretty cool. And then also the leisure travels when it comes to like tips, so that's like you're going to the restaurants and stuff like that, was approximately 55% of the trip. So that's kind of interesting too, because that's giving job security as well. And then also the travel industry employment, it's employed over 330 million people in 2019. So that represents what is it, 10.3% of the global workforce. So that's pretty cool too.
Agreed. And we don't think about, like, people think about travel often as something that is leisurely, something that is a luxury. And this is very well somebody else's livelihood. And so traveling has benefits of putting, employing other people, but also beyond the leisure of it, there are benefits health wise for traveling. Like it's there, we'll get into that. But there are benefits beyond leisure that comes with travel. And that includes giving people jobs. So I think that's something important to keep in mind that, this is an entire ecosystem. it seems like it's all fun and games, but there's work happening behind the scenes also at all times. So, yeah.
Yeah. And as a lot of people know, COVID did affect, and it's funny because I actually went on a trip right before COVID hit, and it's interesting because some of the facts that we found out is that what happened after that, there was a drop. So there was like a loss. The fall of the loss was approximately 1.3 million when it came to the loss in traveling and stuff like that. And then also there was a lot of falls when it came to traveling, about 74% in 2020. So that was a year because I went traveling in 2019. So that was, wow. That was exactly almost a year after that it dropped that far. So I guess I don't know what the statistic is for right now and how many people are going traveling right now. Do you know anything about that?
I have specifics on right now travel. I do
Okay.
think that our guest that we will have on, who is a travel advisor, will be more adept at that because she also knows about upcoming popular destinations for 2025 because,
Hmm.
that's her realm of study because she must know these things in order to serve her clientele.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, COVID, it impacted a lot of people in a lot of ways. And I could see how it's crazy that it said $1.3 trillion. So that's
Okay.
like a crazy amount of money that was a loss in travel because of the pandemic. And I'm sure that, there's been bounce back since then. But yeah, um, yeah, COVID impacted a lot of things.
Mhm.
Um, and then with, did you have anything else? I don't want to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say there has been a growing trend with sustainable tourism where people are wanting to make sure they're being more eco-friendly and responsible while they travel. And the statistic that we found comes from 2020, booking.com. This is a site where you can book hotels and all kinds of experiences and things, but they say about 87% of travelers are purposefully being more sustainable when they travel, which I think is cool because, global warming and climate change and all the things, plus like how with, for example, in the fashion industry, how we go through clothes and how there's always more clothes being made, but then there's things being thrown away and things not being able to be repurposed, or like all these hotels and things being built out versus people being able to have a more personal, intimate stay at like an Airbnb or something. So people who live in these places can actually have money come back into their pocket while offering an experience to other people. um, I think that's pretty cool. And then also, adventure travel has grown in popularity. A growth rate of around 20% is what the statistic said. And adventure travel looks like hiking, diving, safaris, and adventurous things like that. And then there's also solo travel, which has gone on the rise, especially with millennials. About 25% of travelers said that they have planned solo travel, and up to 15, and that's up 15% from 2013. So in 7 years, it grew by 10%, the solo travel percentage. Um, I actually have a friend that's going on a solo travel trip. She leaves today, and I got another friend that leaves next week. We have
Okay.
like been intentional about this solo travel because there's so much that you can learn about yourself on solo travel. And there's just more experience to be had when you solo travel because then you don't have to consider other people's needs and like scheduling and hunger and all the things.
Yeah. Okay. I found it really interesting about the benefits of traveling when it comes to
Mhm.
stress relief, improving your mental health, and also culture awareness and personal growth as well.
Yeah.
The one when it comes to stress relief, it is being seen that traveling is shown to significantly reduce it. About 89% of people have experienced a drop in relief when it comes to just doing a 2 to 1 day travel. So that's something, because most of the times when you go on a travel, you want to go a little longer than that. So just to go away for a couple of days could significantly help your stress relief. And then also it breaks
Absolutely.
the routine. So that allows you to be able to, have like a fresh perspective and be able to just feel rejuvenated when you come back. And then also improving your mental health, that enhances your mood and happiness. So that increases the happiness level. Reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety. And a lot of us deal with that on small levels. Sometimes you don't even notice that you're going into depression, anxiety, but travel can help to reduce those symptoms. Cognitive benefits, it can help with flexibility and and it also has a potential to reduce the risk of cognitive decline. So that's a amazing thing as well. And then when it comes down to cultural, traveling to different cultures can help for you to see other perspectives and also have a greater understanding of diverse, um, just being having a different perspective of everybody else that's around, because a lot of times if you stay in one spot, you're only used to what you see on an everyday average, your city, your state, that's all that you experience. So when you go out and see something else, especially traveling overseas, I can imagine. That's why I'm excited to be able to even do it. Okay, you have anything else, Yams, before we get into our clips and things of that?
I was gonna also just add with the the health benefits
Uh-huh.
that, yes, broadening the perspectives, because you're able to, like you said, see things outside of your normal realm of things. And then there's also enhanced creativity, because you get exposed to things that are outside of what you're used to seeing. Then your brain starts to rewire itself. It's able to see things from a new perspective, and you're able to have more creativity, be it whatever kind of creative that you are. You could be an artist, but you could also be somebody that's into, maybe you make jewelry, or maybe you are a travel advisor. Being able to see other things opens up new doorways in your mind to say, what if we tried doing this and putting it with this, and how would that go? So there's a lot of health benefits, and it doesn't take a whole lot of travel to even benefit from it. And it doesn't have to be a far destination for it to be beneficial. And so I really encourage the listeners, even if it's just going down the street to your local park for a couple of hours on a day that you don't have anything else to get into, that's going to give you health benefits. If it's getting in a car and driving a couple of hours, if it's flying across the country, all these have benefit. Just make sure that you take time to actually do it, because ain't nobody gonna give you the time. You have to take the time to do it so that you can have it and be able to enjoy it. That's it.
And I would suggest before going on a trip, kind of putting that as like a goal so that you don't have to deal with like budgeting issues. Because sometimes people go on a trip and they come back and they're looking at their finances like, oh man, I spent too much. But if you budget before you go, then you'll be able to spend that amount and not feel so drained, or basically it's like you go and you feel refreshed, rejuvenated, and you come back and you're all stressed out because now I spent too much money and now I got to live my regular life. So always keep that in mind, y'all. It is a possibility to budget and even map out how long you need to budget for before you go on your trip, before you go and decide to schedule a travel
Yeah.
event.
And if the word budget makes you uncomfortable because the accountant in me cannot help herself, I just want to make it clear that budgeting does not have to be a complicated thing that is scary. It can be as simple as, how much is it going to cost for me to go from Tennessee to Florida in a car for this many days during this window of time? Adding up how much a car is, or the flight is, or however your mode of transportation, adding up how much you're going to have to pay to stay wherever you're going to stay, and then adding up about how much you think that you'll have to have for food and activities and things like that. Once you tally together how much you think all of this stuff is going to cost, then it's just a matter of working towards that number. And if you have, 10 months, then you can divide that by 10 and see how much per month you would need to set aside to get to that goal. It does not have to be complicated. You might have, I don't know, like a $1,000 trip and you got 10 months, it's $100 a month. It makes it more doable when you're chipping away at it over time instead of trying to do it at one time. $1,000 in one sitting is a lot more to come up with than $100 over several months.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I love it. Okay, so now we're going to get into like our own personal experiences. Yams, did you want to go first to talk about your experiences?
I can. And
Okay.
I'll start with a question or a statement or like where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So my story will be me sharing a story of a memorable travel experience that had a positive impact on me. And I would say, I feel like all of my travel has had positive impacts on me because there's something to learn and there's something to be experienced no matter where you go. The way that I move through life is very much like I'm gonna have a good time regardless of where I'm at. But I think that one of the most memorable trips that I've had will be a clip that I have that we'll share at the end where I went to Europe. I got to spend, I want to say I was there for about 10 days, and I got to spend time in London, Paris, and in several days in different parts of Italy. And being immersed in another place with other language around you that is not the language that you speak by default, and still needing to eat and navigate and do all the things. Um, it made me realize how much more world there is to be experienced. It also made me realize that I could absolutely live outside of the United States. And so like that trip has really, it's stuck with me. It's the first time I ever went to a nude beach. And because of the company that I was with while traveling, even though it was not a solo trip, it very much felt like the first time I was able to move around in a solo capacity on a trip. Because there were times in which me and the other person that I traveled with were not on the same page, and I did not let one monkey stop the show. Your girl kept on gallivanting throughout these cities and stopping at little spots and having wine on the street, or coming across the Trevoli fountain in Italy, and it's the water fountain is doing its thing, and sitting on the stairs and watching the fireworks happen. I didn't expect that. I was just walking around enjoying myself, having some dinner, and came across things. And so being able to step outside of your comfort zone in one way because you're in a whole nother place, but then also to be surrounded by a whole nother language and still be willing to try to figure it out. And you have to have patience with yourself. You have to have patience with other people. It was a very enriching experience. It also taught me that I don't know what America is doing to the dairy, but I can eat dairy in Europe. And so it's one of the reasons why I am ready to live somewhere else, because I know that what's happening to the food in other places is not what's happening to the food here. And so that gives me hope that I'm going to be able to eat excellent food everywhere else that I go. But yeah, it was a great time. And I ate so good. Like I had a lobster pasta that I still think about, Deb. I still think about this pasta, and I can't even eat pasta no more. I don't know if I can eat pasta over there. I can't eat pasta in America, but I still think about this lobster pasta. Um, so yeah, it was real good, and I recommend everybody visit somewhere outside the country at some point before you leave this planet, because it's just something to be gained to do something outside of your comfort zone and still be able to enjoy other people's culture and experience. And then like the architecture and the art, I got to see the Mona Lisa. Like it was such an incredible experience through and through. And I planned that whole thing by myself. So like it can be done. It took me months to put it all together, but it can be done. And it was an incredible trip, and it makes me want more.
Okay. Love it. So, my particular experiences, I had two that stuck out, but I've been to other places, but these two particular places, I spent most of my time, let's put it like that. So, 2019, like I said, right before COVID, I went to Bahamas, and it was so interesting because I actually was planning it a year before that. I was trying to go in 2018, but that never happened. So when we were able to go 2019, I was happy about that, and then found out 2022 when the COVID thing came. I was happy we actually got a chance to do it. But I do have a couple of clips from when I went to Sedona in 2022. So I want to show you guys those clips. The first one is going to be when I went to go to they had a crystal shop there, and I was amazed by how big the crystals were. All the shops that are in my area, they got the little small crystals, and it wasn't too many places that even sold crystals from where I'm from. So when I went there, I was like blown away. So I'm going to show you guys that clip, and then as well as when I went to the spa out there in Sedona, I do have a clip of what the experience was like for there too. So I'll go ahead and pop this on. And then this next clip is actually about their psychic center. We went there and we were able to get like a digital reading, and they were able to show us like our auras and like the places that you possibly need to work on and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you what that shop looked like. And let's see here. The next clip we got is going to be for the sauna. Let me get to the sauna clip so you guys can see that.
I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's
okay, y'all. So this is where I'm about to go get my massage. They got quite a few different options, but this is where I'm about to go. If y'all ever are in Sedona and you want to get a massage or whatever, okay? I'm going to let y'all know how it goes. It's about to start raining, y'all. I'm on my way back to where we're staying at. Okay, guys, look at this beautiful place. Yeah, I just got a wonderful massage. I'm ready to go lay down somewhere now. Okay, so that was an amazing trip, y'all. I remember actually we had planned out to have a vehicle, and that was the best option because out there you can't really get a ride simply like by getting like a lift and stuff like that. So we were able to rent out a vehicle, and we all decided whenever we wanted to go somewhere, we would just take the car. So I was able to take the car to, experience the sauna because nobody else wanted to do it. Just like how Yam said, sometimes it happens like that. You want to do something, everybody else doesn't want to do. So that was one of the experience I got to do solo on a trip with other ladies. So that was pretty cool. All right, so that's all I have for my personal experience. Besides the last clip that we'll be showing you guys at the end.
Nice. And I just want to say that I've never been on a wellness spa trip retreat like what Deb showed. But there is a lot of people who do travel specifically just to go be pampered and to restore and rejuvenate their mind, body, and spirit. And that is not leisure. That is something that we all need the same way that your car needs an oil change and the tires need to be rotated and you do all those things. Your body needs time to rest. It needs massages to help it release the toxins from the food and the environment and the stress from the inside and all the things. And so these types of trips are essential for you to have restorative experiences. And I've not done an extensive trip like what Deb showed y'all, but there's something in Nashville that I know that I do. I want to say it's a quarterly event, and it's the Nashville BIPOC Sangha, and it is a space where Black and brown people gather together, and we do half-day sits where it is a meditative space. There is lessons taught throughout it, but it's a silent portion of the day. And so we take time to be silent and to reflect and let the mind do whatever it's doing. And so even if you can't get to a bigger retreat, there are smaller options like that usually available to you somewhere if you just find the community to tap into. And then I was going to ask you, Deb, what would be a major or one of the major takeaways that you've learned about you through traveling?
I learned what I would say when it comes to traveling. I learned that limiting yourself, basically putting your mind in one. This is basically what I'm coming to because my father, he never traveled. He never even desired to travel. And I felt like that was kind of limiting. So like when I actually got a chance to travel on my own as an adult, I was able to see that the world is not the same everywhere. And you should always be open to be able to experience more and don't put yourself into a limit or put yourself into a box. That was one of the main things I learned.
And I'd say that one of the main things that I've learned is that, like you said, the world is big. Like there's a lot of world to cover. We're not so different in our experiences though. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really fascinating that it doesn't matter if you are 5 minutes from your house or 5,000 miles from your house, you can find commonality in other people. And we are all humans, and there is something that unites us all. Doesn't mean everybody got to be your friend, but there is something that makes us common and united, regardless of where you were born or where you currently live. The other thing that I've learned about travel is your needs can change. When I started traveling, one time I stayed in New York and slept in a king size bed with 3 other grown women I think we were there for like 4 days, and that was crazy. Great time, I was in my 20s. We did it. We made it work. This 38-year-old me would absolutely not share a bed of queen or bigger with anyone. I mean, anyone. I ain't sharing beds with people no more. I'm not willing to be trapped somewhere without a vehicle. Whereas I used to be okay with going with the flow of the trip. Now I need to be able to have flexibility and options. And so I've learned that your needs can change in travel also. So, and it's a beautiful thing. You got to give yourself room to change and grow, because it don't matter if it's diet or work or whatever. We're constantly changing and growing. And there's something to be learned every step of the way.
Okay. Well, we got a few clips of us because I didn't really show you guys when I went to Bahamas. So there is a clip of my Bahamas trip. And then Yams has some clips also of her trip. So we're going to end off here and we'll let you guys see the clips and then the outro. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure y'all share the video as well as follow the Facebook page if you haven't already. But we're sending you guys much love. Yes.
Yes. And one more thing, make sure you tune in 2 Saturdays, because we're going to have a guest on, Tanisha Thomas. She is a travel advisor. She will be able to speak to upcoming 2025 destinations that you should have your eyes on, and just how healing traveling can be, and how it has been from her perspective, because this is the industry that she's in. So she's helped thousands of people go on vacation and have whatever experiences that they needed for their selves at that time. So make sure that you tune in, because we do have a guest coming in to talk from a professional standpoint on this. And until next time, thank y'all.
In 2018, I was able to spend some time in London, also take in the sights in Paris for a day, and then popped over to Italy, where I spent several days taking in all of those sights. And then in 2024, made it down to the 4th annual Afro Mermaid Summit, which was a freaking blast.
Traveling the water in 2019. Boarding the ship on the way to Bahamas. Our view from the ferry on the way to Atlantis. Inside of the Atlantis Hotel. Clips from 2022. We stayed for almost a week. Sedona, Arizona.